we are. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, well, welcome, neighbors and friends, people in the room here and then those on YouTube. Welcome to the regular City Commission meeting of Monday, October 27th, 2025. Again, we're glad that you're joining us. First, we'll go ahead and do roll call.
Benson? Here. Birch?
Here.
Brunick?
Here.
Sarda?
Here.
Conkling?
Here.
Hanoff?
Here.
Mosier? Spencer?
Here.
Mayor Villanueva?
Here.
City Manager Leon?
Here.
City Attorney Denherter?
Here.
Okay, we need to look at before you are the minutes of the regular meeting of October 14th, 2025. Commission, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, Commission? Seeing none, public? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Anyone abstaining?
I'll abstain since I wasn't here.
Okay, thank you. Minutes then are approved. Okay, then 3 on the routine business, we have schedule of bills. Commission, what would you like to do with the bills?
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion about that? Seeing none, anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Birch?
Aye.
Brunick?
Aye.
Sarda?
Aye.
Conkling?
Aye.
Hanoff?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Benson? Aye. Mayor Villanueva?
Aye, bills will be paid. Next, we have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the Commission, and the public. A few things for you this evening I want to bring to your attention and to the public's attention. October is National Disabilities Employment Awareness Month, and we have a young man who is working at the Yankton Community Library named Marcus Teal. Some of you may know him, but he was awarded the Employee of the Year for National Disabilities Employment Awareness Month here locally. So on Thursday, he's going to be honored with an award at the River Rock Event Center. That'll take place at 8:30 to 11 a.m. Everyone's welcome to join, so media should be notified if there is a quorum of the commission there. There will be no city business discussed. It will just be an opportunity to celebrate Marcus and that achievement. So he's at the library and helps us out there. Really nice young man, and to be celebrated. Just as a side note, we've been recognized other times as well for our work with other individuals and this type of activities as well. So also wanted to talk to you a little bit about our dispatchers. Some of you may know or may not know, but often we have opportunities when a fellow dispatch center needs some help where we can dispatch for them, or if we need some help, they can dispatch for us. So there was some work happening in Clay County, and so for a couple of days, we were acting as their dispatch center. So our dispatchers covered their dispatch center. They wrote us a note of appreciation, but we also had someone specially recognized. Dispatcher Kim Storgard was recognized, and she'll be recognized at a ceremony there for some light actions in a life-saving measure with a person experiencing a cardiac arrest. So a lot of people don't know our dispatchers because they're the first responders behind the scenes, but our dispatchers are the ones that get our first responders to the scenes and get the help that they need. And so I wanted to recognize Kim publicly and thank her for her help on that call, and thank all our dispatchers for taking on double duty and helping our friends in Clay County. As you know, the Christmas party for the city is December 5th. You commissioners will be receiving an email from Colleen Bailey with an invitation. If you respond to that, that will be your RSVP if you'd like to come, and you will let her know if you'll be attending as well as a guest and who that is. So that will be coming forward to you. Also, thank you for the public's patience. We are wrapping up on construction projects. If you look in the packet on the SIM, there is a timeline there, sort of a wrap-up and a review of what construction projects we're working on tying up. We're going to have a little bit of weather this week, but hopefully we can still get those things completed, and hopefully we'll beat the winter weather. So I don't have anything further, Mayor, unless there's questions for me. Happy to answer them.
Thank you, City Manager. I would like to also echo the thank you to our dispatchers. They are truly the unsung heroes of our chain of survival. They're, again, like City Manager said, the unseen men and women that are the ones that get the responders out there, and my special thanks goes out to them. Without them, we could not do what we do, so they're definitely an amazing part of the team. Also, before I ask for questions, I'd like to say, I'd like to give a special shout out to the Yankton cheer team. Over this weekend, it sounds like they had, for the high school, they had got third in state, second in POM, and third in jazz. So congratulations, ladies. Also, a thank you and a shout out to the Yankton Bucks football team. They're hopefully on their way to state. We'll see what happens, but I just want to also congratulate them on their last win. So with that being said, any commissioners, do you have any questions for the city manager? Okay, seeing no mics come on, we will move on. Okay, next order of business. This is always fun. I have a proclamation this evening, and because I want to be as transparent as possible, I'm very proud to give this young man this proclamation. And one of the things that I didn't follow through with, and Garrett, my apologies for that, I was supposed to be at your ceremony, and I was unable to do that. It was a crazy weekend. My 10-year-old broke her arm pretty severely, so it's one of those things where I wanted to be there but was not. So again, for that, I told you before, I'd like to tell you now, publicly, I apologize for not being there, and because I get to sit in this seat, one of the things I can do for you is to show you my appreciation personally by giving you a proclamation. This is not something we do for everyone, but for you, I just appreciate you and thank you for your grace, and again, apologies for me not being there. So, without further ado, whereas the rank of Eagle Scout is a badge of honor that carries a profound sense of pride and accomplishment that remains with a scout for life. And whereas Garrett Kohlhaas has exemplified the values of scouting throughout his journey, beginning in 2013 as a Tiger Cub in Pack 259, and continuing through the ranks of Wolf, Bear Cub, Webelos, and Arrow of Light. And whereas Garrett continued his scouting path by joining Boy Scout Troop 102, where he actively participated in troop activities, fundraisers, and community service projects, and attended numerous camps, including Lewis and Clark Camp, Camp Wilderness in Minnesota, and Camp Cedar in Cedar Bluffs, Nebraska, as well as memorable campouts at Dr. Iceberg's Canyon. And whereas Garrett has demonstrated exceptional dedication by earning 33 merit badges, 5 special awards, and 2 national outdoor awards. Whereas Garrett's Eagle Scout Service Project, the construction of 2 ice skating benches for the outdoor rink at Sertoma Park in Yankton, provides a lasting contribution to the community, offering a permanent place for visitors to rest and enjoy their skating experience. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we proudly recognize and commend Garrett Kohlhaas for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, and we honor his unwavering commitment to the principles of scouting, his service to others, and his leadership within the community. And in witness thereof, this proclamation is issued with great pride and admiration on this day, 27th of October, 2025. Oh, I already did. Garrett, the floor is yours if you'd like to say anything. If you don't want to, that's just fine too. Up to you. I don't mean to put you on the spot. We have to make sure there's the mic on over there. Thank you, Commissioner Conkling. I think, is it on? Perfect.
Thank you very much. I built some ice benches down by the Sertoma Ice Rink Park, or Sertoma Ice Rink, I should say. Took about roughly a year to build. I think I spent about $5,000 in fundraising to get that. I want to say thank you to my dad for helping me build this project and some other scouts that helped me along the way. I also want to thank you, my mom, for supporting me all the way through my Eagle Scout. And the benches are down there for everyone else to enjoy, and maybe we'll see a few hockey games going on this winter.
Awesome. Thank you, Garrett. Great job. Okay, number 6, under public appearances, we do have the Yankton Area Ice Association today. Mr. Hawes?
Thank you, everybody. My name is Terry Hawes. I'm a former member of the board member of the Yankton Area Ice Association. I just wanted to be able to take and talk to you today just a little bit, just a small, brief conversation about the ice rink that Garrett had done his Eagle Scout project with. We have kind of a vision in the future, basically along with Garrett's project that he had done. His older brother had also done the actual shed that has all the place to put your shoes and stuff like that. So the boys themselves, when they do Eagle Scout projects, they're told to basically pick out something that's very near and dear to them. So their engagement and their thought processes and their ability to get it done is more streamlined and able to get it done. So with that being said, I discussed with the board members of the Yankton Area Ice Association. What we'd like to do is, in the past couple of years, there's been a little bit of lapse in the actual ice, of course, because weather is weather. We all understand that. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to be able to work together with the city to try and get ice built up real well so that it can be a usable facility. Being right outside the door of the Parks and Rec building and stuff, it's always visible. Of course, everybody that plays baseball down there during the summer months, they see this work going on there and they ask questions. Of course, in the process of building these setups, was that this is an ice rink, and they really didn't know that. So in the process of us doing these and people coming by and asking questions, we just want to make sure that we as a group, whether we join together to try and make this a better place, a place for the public to be able to join together, enjoy themselves, enjoy ice skating, enjoy hockey, enjoy figure skating, just enjoy skating yourself, in the city itself. And it's a close location in the housing area, so it's really accessible. So I won't go too deep into it. We just want to try and be able to put that maybe on the agenda in the future to discuss a little bit deeper about our involvement as an association from the Yankton Area Ice Association and the city's involvement to where we can come together to make this work.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Mr. Hawes, and that's a good idea that we, at some point, we have a obviously a more in-depth discussion, and you can chat with the ICE Association and see kind of what it looks like going into the future and what type of partnership or whatever we do to make it as nice a place as possible.
And to start off with this year, being as we're getting close to that beautiful winter season that we love to be in all the time, I'm putting myself out there at this point in time to help Todd and his crew to be able to try and get ice built up and teach them how to make ice and how to be able to smooth it off and everything else. So I'm offering my services up for that whenever they get ready to start doing that, to go ahead and help and start steering in the direction.
Okay, that sounds good. Like I said, at some point we'll have a larger conversation about what that looks like going forward.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Before you move, any questions at all, commissioners? No? Okay, thank you.
Terry, have you been down to North Fork and see what they did outside with their outdoor rink?
I've been by there twice. I haven't been able to get right there at the site. We have family down there, so we go down there once in a while. Down there next to the kayak park and stuff. So they're using actual portable compressors at this point in time. I know they're trying to work on getting a hockey rink set up too, because there's been a big push for the last 2 or 3 years. Haven't had the engagement yet within the community side of the fence, but we do know that they're trying to work towards that now.
Yeah, I would just comment that the acceptance down there for that outdoor rink, of course, it does have not artificial, but refrigerated ice.
Yep.
Was tremendous down there. So I don't know
There's
if
a
that's
lot of
something to
people
look at.
saying a lot of positive things about it. I know that.
Yeah, it turned out pretty nice.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, again, we're still under public appearance. So I'll read this again. Anyone that is not, again, on the agenda, any item that's not on the agenda, you are welcome to come up to the microphone and talk about any item that you have that is not on the agenda at this time. Per our packet here, you have 3 minutes to speak. Would anyone else from the public like to come up and chat with us? Okay, seeing no movement, we'll move on next to the consent items. And so number 1 under consent items, we have established a public hearing for sale of alcoholic beverages, established November 10th, 2025 as the date of the public hearing to consider renewal applications for retail on sale, full service restaurant, retail on sale liquor package, off sale liquor, and retail on off sale. Wine and cider for license period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st of 2026. And so that is the only item that I have on the consent agenda at this time. Commission, what is your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? See none? Anyone from the public? Okay, well, roll call. Oh, yeah.
I believe, Mayor, that's a voice vote.
Oh, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Anyone abstaining? Okay. Consent item agenda is moved. All right. Number 3 under old business, special events handbook application and fees updates for 2026. Consideration of memorandum number 25-196 recommending the City Commission approve update recommendations number 1 through 19 of special events handbook. Application and fees for 2026. The commission needs to decide on recommendation number 20, whether a street usage fee should be implemented, and if so, at what amount. Adjustments will then be made to the special events handbook application and forms. A fees resolution will be brought to a future commission meeting for approval based on the recommendation. And before I accept any motions or we do anything of that nature, I'm going to go ahead and let's get some explanation first so we're all on the same page. So Luke, would you like to come to the mic, if you don't mind, or Todd, both of you? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and other commissioners. So going back in time, we've had 2 different special event task force groups put together, one a couple years ago and now this one this summer to discuss different policies about special events and how we have them. So this discussion started a month ago when we brought forward some recommendations from the task force that we had this summer, to which there was discussion with the City Commission. And it was asked that we find out more specifics from downtown businesses, since obviously this takes place, what we're talking about is taking place in the Meridian District, which is defined as Lynn Street to Burley, and the Missouri River north to 5th Street. And so using the facade grant mailing list that community development uses each year, we sent out surveys to the downtown businesses, so about 300. And again, on that, it may not necessarily be all businesses, but there were 350 different property addresses to send to. So we sent out 350 surveys. We had a deadline of Sunday, whatever it was, October 19th, was Monday, October 20th. So we had Sunday as the deadline. We received 40 surveys up to that point. We did receive some hand delivered surveys on that Tuesday. The hand delivered surveys that I did receive back were from Jeff Dayhuff. Went through all of those. They were all yeses, and we strongly support downtown events with street closures, which isn't a surprise coming from the Dayhuff properties and enterprises. So the 40 that we had previous to those being hand delivered are mostly, if not all, from non-Dayhuff properties. So the 40 that came in before the deadline, we have given you those survey results. That's what you've seen. And then based on comments and results from those surveys is where the 19 recommendations. The 20th one is a part of the comments and discussion here. But 19 different recommendations based on what those surveys told us. As you look at the survey results, to me, out of those 40, the most catching, eye-catching, thought-provoking comments, or I should say survey results, were we had the question about what does street closures, special events with street closures do to your business? And we had 17 of those surveys mark that it severely negatively impacts their business. So 17 out of 40. Then when you take those 17 and look back at how they answered question number 2 and number 3, which was, do you support road closures, special events with road closures throughout the district? Question 2. And question 3 was, do you support special events with street closures on 3rd Street with North and South streets also? 17 negatively impacted. 15 of those were both yeses. They still said yes to road closures, special events with road closures. Got to get my figures straight in my head. 17, 12, 13, whatever the numbers are. Two of them were, one was a yes to the district-wide and no to the 3rd Street, and the other was no district-wide and yes to the, but only 2 of them were no to both. So again, unless somebody interprets this as something different, to me, what that basically said at that point was, it's negative to our business, but we're still looking at the overall big picture for the Meridian District, and we think special events with street closures are a good thing for the district, even if it is hurting our business on that particular day. So again, otherwise, 80 to 85% of those surveys responded yes to either question 2, which was the entire district, or question 3, 3rd Street with north-south. So a lot of positive, yes, we want these events and we want street closures if that's what it takes. So that brings us to where we came up with the different recommendations based on task force discussions we've had and then comments coming out of the city commission meeting a month ago. So number 1 is no road closures on state highways. And again, that isn't up to us anyway. The state would have to say yes or no on that, and we know it's going to be a hard no. So that was an easy one to make. Number 2, road closures are allowed for special events and parades in the Meridian District. 3, parades are to use the designated parade route only. And again, we've had that implemented and been working on that the last couple of years, so that's not a radical change to what we've been doing. For special events, no intersections will be allowed to be closed. So example is, if 3rd Street is utilized, you're not then also shutting Douglas or Walnut to create a fully blocked off plus symbol, if you visualize that. Again, north-south streets in the 3rd Street area are all 4-way stops. So even though 3rd Street would be closed and you have to cross the intersection to get to the next maybe road closure, you have a controlled intersection with stop signs. And again, that's based off of survey results and comments that came in from those surveys. Event applications with street closures will need to come before the City Commission for 2 meetings with a window of 90 to 60 days in advance. And again, based on what we heard of some of those surveys. If an event applies for a road closure in the Meridian District less than 60 days prior to the event, city staff will deny the application. It'll be a hard no. At the first City Commission meeting, it'll be like an introduction for that special event road closure. The event organizer needs to have signatures of property owners in the business owners in that block or blocks that's requested for closure. And again, that's not new by any means. We've talked about that for a decade now of having those signatures, but they need to be brought to that first introduction meeting. At the second City Commission meeting, the special event road closure will be acted upon by the City Commission. Public has 2 City Commission meetings then with this put in place. The time between these meetings also to bring forward any concerns about the event or the road closure. So 2 public meetings plus the time in between. These public meetings also allow the local news to cover the street closure, and it addresses one of the ways of the downtown businesses learning about upcoming closures as identified in the survey. So again, if in the survey we get responses back saying, well, we rarely hear about these events or we never hear about these events, we're trying to answer some of those issues and problems that we've heard from phone calls that we've also received and we've seen on the surveys. We would like to update the special events no parking ordinance to eliminate the posting of information on the A-frame signs. And again, if anybody was downtown this last week, you saw those A-frame signs. Again, what we've heard, comments, they're a pain to set up, they're a pain to keep set up. Businesses don't like them. Businesses will move them up by their building and lean them against so people aren't confused on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then they don't get put back. And so again, also the fact that they're up most of the summer in the downtown area. So it's a never-ending A-frame signs don't go down. So we would like to eliminate those out of this mix for identifying and educating people that something's coming up. I have had discussions with Nancy at Thrive, and so we would like to work with Thrive and get a two-part mailing list. One, physical mailing list that can be utilized for event organizers to mail event info and road closure info. 2, because again, if you go back to what you see on the surveys, 2 most popular ways, number 1, by and far, email. We want to see emails. And number 2 was mail notification. So we're trying to get all of those different items touched on with this. So we would work with Thrive to have a mailing list of that Meridian district. Event organizers would request also from Thrive or the city, and again, we would work with Thrive on this, we would try to create an email list, and we would have people opt into it. So it can be business owners downtown, property owners downtown, people living downtown, and other people throughout the community if need be, but we got to figure out how to do that. But we would get that email list created, people can opt into it, and now we have the ability to email about what events are going on, dates, times, all of those type of things. And again, it addresses one of the ways that was identified in the survey. Event organizers would send out a public service announcement to the local newspapers and radio stations. Hopefully there's been coverage on some of that local media from the city commission events, but we, the city, send out PSAs, so we can provide a template to what a PSA should look like for a special event with a road closure, and we can provide that and email addresses. We don't mail stuff physically, we email it, so we can help the event organizers get a PSA out to the local media. Event organizers would need to post event info and road closure info to their social media accounts, which, again, I think for the most part is probably already happening. Most of those events have their own Facebook page or Facebook event that you can find. But again, we would help promote that. The city will gather parade dates, and again, this is separate from Rock and Rumble or Third on Third, those type of events. But the city will gather parade dates for the year in May. We believe by May, those dates are set for the ones that we know about. The city would mail out a parade date notifier in June, and we would utilize the city's utility billings to do that. So again, we already do that with some of our marketing, so we could work that into our marketing to make sure people know about parade dates. Again, we've talked about creating a QR code that goes along with that mailing or as a part of that mailing on the paper, whatever the case may be. That QR code brings people to a city website page listing the parades, dates, times, roads being closed, those type of things. And again, we have a list in there of the current parades that we deal with. Special event notifications for the public on special event street closures in other areas of town, so not the Meridian District. Think block party, which we don't have that many of, if we have any at all. But if it would happen, that would be the responsibility of the event organizers to make contact with the people in their block. And usually it's for a block party, so they've invited everybody in the block, so a little less problematic. The application fees, which you saw last time, is still the same, because we talked about having a bump in fees in 2026 and then having a bump in fees again in 2027. So those recommendations are not new. Those are what was in the last time. Police and fire service fees, again, 2 officer minimum if it's requested, not special events, downtown with street closures, do not have to have police, do not have to have fire on site. But if they would so choose, or again, going back to not this task force, but the prior task force, we had talked about if an event has trouble in 2026 with alcohol, violence, whatever the case may be, then come 2027, the city has the ability to say, you had serious problems last year, this year, for us to approve this, you have to show that you're going to have police presence. So if there's going to be police presence, it's got to be a 2-officer minimum, has to be a 2-hour minimum, and then there's fees listed there. Again, those were in the last recommendation up from a month ago. Electric power surcharge, again, we have power in the alleys downtown. We found out this summer some private individuals were taking advantage of our electric outlets, so we've now padlocked things up and closed. So again, if events downtown such as not only the special events, but even the parades like Riverboat Days, March to the Meridian, Lancers Day Parade have announcers downtown and need power, there's a $25 fee to get them power. City equipment fees for events. So the one new thing that we did add in, based on comments that we heard, survey stuff that we've thought about, was add a labor charge for delivery and pickup. So we would track hours of the labor to load, deliver, and unload during the week. And then that next Monday, when we showed back up to load, return, and unload at our park shop, we would track those hours and we could bill that if that's something the commission is interested in. And then we thought about those white A-frame signs and less of those, but there's still going to be other issues downtown that we've heard complaints about, dropping off picnic tables on Wednesday, right now dropping off picnic tables on either Thursday or Friday, setting them on the corners or in front of businesses that necessarily aren't hosting the special event. So to eliminate the complaints of equipment taking up parking spots, blocking sidewalks, setting in front of businesses that aren't involved in the special event, we're willing to say all equipment will be delivered for special events in the Meridian District with street closures to the nearest city parking lot, realizing that we cannot utilize the farmers market parking lot because they have the events going on every Saturday in the summer. So we would find a different city parking lot that's as close as can be to whatever areas are being blocked off. That is where we would deliver picnic tables, garbage cans, barricades, whatever else would be needed. Then it's going to be up to the event organizer to have those items moved on the day of the event that morning of. Nice, bright and early. Also, park staff can deliver those items on a Wednesday or Thursday before we get to Friday when we have our worker shortage because we have people off full-time from the last weekend being on call, and then just because it's summer, vacations, and other time off. So we have workers available Wednesday and Thursday, easier than us delivering on Friday. So we try to eliminate one of those problems that started some of this conversation. Rent with delivery and pickup fee for items. Not much has changed there. We did do a picnic table inventory after Riverboat Days, redistributed things to all the different parks, and we do have 28 picnic tables at the park shop now, the aluminum ones that can be moved. So we would say that is the max that you can get for a special event that's going to be hosted on in the downtown. Just because, again, last summer we ran into Rib Fest weekend is also youth softball, girls softball weekend, and then we also had a lot of shelter rentals in our park. So for us to try to start stealing picnic tables from ourselves to provide 35, 40, 50 tables downtown doesn't work very well. So the max would be 28. But most of what you see there is similar to what the recommendation was a month ago. And that was recommendation number 19 for the most part. So that got us to number 20. There was, again, through the surveys, some thought of maybe to try to get events to make their event as small and compact as possible, but still meet their goals, there should be half-block fees put in place for usage of downtown streets. And again, in the surveys, they talked about per day or half or per hour. I took out the per hour because that becomes awful problematic of, okay, who was there to see when it started and who was there to see when it got picked up, and now phone calls come in on Monday that they said the event got done at noon and there were still things out at 3 p.m. and so we're not eliminating people getting mad at us at that point. So I think it needs to, if this is something the commission would be interested in, I think you talk about it's a whole day, whatever, how many ever hours they use it, it's just a whole day fee, whether they use it for 1 hour or 20 of the 24. But is there a per half block fee that should be implemented, and what should that fee be? And then again, 2 other recommendations that were on the last one were about safety items, and we haven't changed those, and we'll continue to work with parades and parade routes on how they shut some things down. And the other thing that was talked about is making sure, again, think motorcycle poker runs, that event organizers or participants are not, make sure they understand they're not allowed to stop traffic on streets or intersections other than if there's a police escort. So if motorcycles leave downtown, they can't have a motorcycle pull across an intersection up on Douglas and start stop and cross traffic because we're going to let this 25 motorcycles go through because they're on a poker run. So it's educating them, that's a safety thing, that they can't stop or close down intersections that don't have barricades and those type of things.
Okay. Lot of explanation there. Thank you for getting through all of that. And before I ask for questions for you, Todd, Luke, I know you had done a little bit of digging yourself as far as some research. Is there anything you want to add maybe to kind of the general discussion before we have a larger discussion?
Yes, thank you. Just as was pointed out at our last meeting here, we did, the ask was for some additional time for us to do some research and have some conversations with stakeholders directly involved with this special event process, which was primarily those in the Meridian District, consisting of businesses, property owners, landlords, tenants. And that was good. It was good that we had that time to do that. Additionally, that time allowed us to look at some aspects of special events too. And one of the items that I had briefly touched on was some of the information related to other communities. And again, I think it's worth at least noting what's happening around us. I don't think we have to think that we're an island of one. We certainly are not. And I think the good news for our commission, the good news for all those here is that what we're talking about here in Yankton is not unique to just Yankton. These are conversations that are happening in a number of communities around our state, a number of communities here in South Dakota. I did have an opportunity to have some conversations with Sioux Falls. Obviously, when you look at communities across our state, probably the most progressive, probably the most forward-thinking, a lot of those ideas come out of Sioux Falls just because resources, time allocation, some of those things are present there. I did have some time to visit with Sioux Falls about their special event process. Just, again, these are just talking points. I think these are just pieces of information for us to consider as we go through and make decisions on this. As pointed out, though, a few of the key points here that I want to just very briefly touch on here is, number one, we aren't Sioux Falls. And as we go through these discussions here, I think it is important to note that we have our own identity. We are a community that has served ourselves very well for a number of years, but I think it is important to look around at communities that are doing many of the same things we're doing to get a little better understanding if what we're doing is being done the right way, or if there's ways that we can improve our own processes here in Yankton as well. Number one, Sioux Falls has a little different setup in terms of special events. They do function under the umbrella of Parks and Recreation and special events, but most of their special events are done with the assistance of PD as well. They have their own standalone special events police sergeant that plays an integral part in the planning and development conversations that are happening with not only the event hosts, but also Sioux Falls leadership in terms of how to facilitate those events. We have that here as well, and our PD has done a great job of working with us and helping us to mitigate some of the challenges that we know we experience as special events come and go. A few of the talking points, though, that I think are important to consider. This exact conversation did take place in Sioux Falls. If you've been to Sioux Falls, Phillips Avenue is it's a hub. It's an artery. It's the heartbeat of Sioux Falls, and special events love that area of Sioux Falls. And that has led to some very robust discussions among their leadership as well in terms of how do you balance the needs and wants of a thriving business district that's also developing into a residential district. It's a very mixed, multi-use district now that also has had a long history of special events. They have had the exact same robust discussions that we are having about what does a balance look like, and should special events continue? If they are to continue, how do we do that? I can tell you in the last year, they have sat and had these exact same conversations, and they landed on kind of the direction that we're moving to, that they saw a greater desire to continue to attempt to have special events in that area, but that comes with a few caveats. And one of the important caveats to note is that in those decision-making processes to keep special events in that downtown area there, they also recognize that saying yes also meant saying yes to some other forms of making sure that those spaces were safe and secure. Again, this is public information. We are not Sioux Falls, but just as an example, Sioux Falls this past year allocated $300,000 of overtime pay specifically earmarked for just special events, and that allocation of dollars was only for the use of police officers and other special event staff on Phillips Avenue, and a few obviously very close locations there. But again, they realized in saying yes to special events also meant they were saying yes to a commitment to keep those spaces safe and secure and well managed. Sioux Falls instituted a new vehicle deployment system. That's the name of their special events. It's not very fancy, but they have a vehicle deployment system that they've utilized this year for special events. Essentially, it consists of utilizing PD cars, and they've also called upon Public Works. They are now bringing in garbage trucks from Public Works and putting those at the major arteries, which would be like 11th and 12th Street if you've been in the downtown area there. They're one-way streets that simply cross Phillips Avenue. But they have, again, looked around the landscape of what has happened across the United States and around the world, and as they noted verbatim, we plan for the worst-case scenario, hoping it never happens. And I think we do have to be cognizant of the fact that real things can happen in these spaces, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can to be prepared for any of those unfortunate events that are taking place around the world here. Another item to note, as we talked also as well about, is there a limit? Should we be limiting? What does that look like? Sioux Falls has done a version of this as well. In order to host a special event on Phillips Avenue, before you even open up your pocketbook to book anything else, you have to write a check for $9,000 to secure barricades. All of their barricades are third-party venued, and that is how they have managed to limit the number of events that are happening in downtown there. It's come at a price. And is it the right way to do it? Well, I'm not going to say it's the right way to do it. I'm not going to say it's the wrong way to do it. It's the way that they've done it to make sure that large-scale events that should be closing a major artery in Sioux Falls are happening. And it's how they have managed to take smaller events that are better suited for their park systems and trail systems and move them to those locations. And again, we the city, have, for the most part, facilitated all of the equipment fees and barricades and movement of those. Again, for them, a price has been one of the items they have used to help them curtail the number of times they are closing down Phillips Avenue there over the course of a year. Notification is a big item here, and we talked about all of the different prongs of notification. We know this is problematic. We've got part-time residents, full-time residents, we've got Airbnbs, we've got landlords, we've got individuals moving in and out on a monthly basis, we've got businesses, we've got business owners, we've got property owners, and it's almost impossible to think that we can reach everybody in every way, shape, or form. We've discussed this before, but one of the major disadvantages for us is not having a downtown association. In terms of how Sioux Falls does this, it's done almost 100% notification through downtown Sioux Falls. They have the ability to reach all of the landlords, tenants, property owners, and businesses with the push of one button. That's compiled by their staff over the course of an entire year. That's ever changing, and they keep up with those changes. The Downtown Sioux Falls organization is not part of the city of Sioux Falls, but it's an entity that they work hand in hand with to make sure that they can facilitate proper notifications and do that in a timely manner. Again, we are at a disadvantage here, not having a downtown organization of sorts that we can work hand in hand with to help us along with this process here. I would challenge you to look at any thriving downtown in South Dakota here. I don't think you wouldn't find a downtown organization that is assisting Brookings, Watertown, Pierre, Sioux Falls. They exist, and that's something here that has been a challenge for us over the years. Notifications are still happening. They have some avenues to help with notifications in Sioux Falls. As Todd talked about, eliminating the A-frames is definitely one of the things that we have wholeheartedly talked about here. But we also want to be cognizant of what does notification look like and how do we do that properly. We know some of the problems we're going to encounter here is not everybody that is visiting our town is an in-towner. And we need to be aware of the fact that we have a thriving downtown that's full of now entertainment, that's full of establishments, that's full of restaurants, and it's going to continue to trend in that direction. And I don't want us to be so naive to think that the only people visiting those establishments are people in and here from Yankton. We want to make sure that notification in some way, shape, or form can address the people here, but also be cognizant of the fact that people visiting our downtown community should be made aware of events in some way, shape, or form as well. One of the other talking points I did make and have made before is that we are a bit of a unique special event community here. And I think it is worth noting, these are all positive things, but Yankton, for a lot of very positive reasons, attracts a lot of special events. Just to kind of put this on scale for you, when I did quiz the special event staff in Sioux Falls, your community of over 225,000 in your metropolitan area, add another 150,000 when you add in the outlying areas of Brandon Valley, T, West Central, Harrisburg. Surely that number has got to be astonishing larger than Yankton, right? Well, not really. Sioux Falls had a population of over 16, just a metro, over 16 times the size of Yankton, has approximately 4 times more events than we do. We have an astonishingly large amount of special events that take place here in our community, and all for very good reasons. We're a destination hub. We have visitors here year-round. We have a thriving lake community. We have a downtown that's developing. And for a lot of the right reasons, we have an abnormally large number of special events that take place in our community for a lot of really good reasons. And the only reason I say that is because that is part of this discussion here, that we want to be cognizant of the fact that we're doing a lot in a community based on our population demographic. An abnormally large amount for a community with our population demographic. So we know this is a lot to unpack. We know there is a lot of pieces of information addressed here to make this right, but we're hopeful, Todd and myself here, that we can help assist in coming to some consensus on what's the right way to make this work.
Great job, gentlemen. Thank you for all those talking points, all those things to think about. And again, being, as most of you know, and being transparent, I am a first responder. I've been a firefighter for 23 years. in my former life, when I worked in Omaha as a paramedic. So I've seen firsthand, I will always plan for the worst and hope for the best. To just think that it'll never happen here is truly, that's not a good way to think. I'd rather be proactive than reactive to those type of situations. So that is one concern that I do have, is safety. I think that's important to think about that. But then also, before I open up to questions for Todd and Luke, one of the things that I have to thank Commissioner Birch for is, and this was unofficial, we had a really nice day, and we really took a nice walk down 3rd Street and just asked a bunch of the shop managers or the owners or both, if they're one and the same. But there's a lot of themes that we had recognized or realized as we started talking to the people just downtown. And so I'm going to buzz through a few of these. Again, this is not official, and I haven't even had a chance to show it to Commissioner Birch yet. So if commissioners, if you want a copy of this after we kind of go through it together so it's more complete, I'd be happy to do that. So one of the things we talked about as we walked downtown is that, like, one of the first things is that parking's a problem. Possibly, again, this is a possibly different conversation altogether. However, the topic of parking came up multiple times in our discussions. There's a lot of discussion about the overnight parking, that how that it makes it hard for shop owners and customers to park downtown. We were asked about it. The overnight parking, again, is that it's posted? Is it enforced? I wasn't sure. Shame on me for not knowing that, but I don't know that for sure. When streets are closed, patrons with disabilities have a hard time walking so far because the handicap spots are taken. That's one of the things that did come up. It's just hard for people to get to shops in general. And again, and I want to state this too, we absolutely understand, we do not want people, if they've over-imbibed or over-celebrated, we do not want them getting in their vehicle and leaving. So the best choice would be to either A, have a plan, have a ride, but for sure do not get in your vehicle and drive. That is absolutely not at all what we're saying, and not a good thing. Again, but the parking is a problem. 2, closing streets in the Marine District is good. A lot of foot traffic. Customers, when there are people outside and enjoying themselves or for parades, appreciate having other customers that might not have come in otherwise. Having the parade crowd outside is great because people wander in the shop. One of the people said that Riverboat Days weekend is one of the best weekends, mainly because there's a lot of people that walk in, and he mentioned that he loves the people that walk in, because if they buy something, he's happy to ship it to their residence if they're willing to pay for that, which I think is a great idea. Some people said having the street closed does not bother me at all. And some positive things for the Marine District is because it brings crowds there. And that's exactly what we want to happen. We want that tourism. We want that extra tax revenue as people enjoy themselves in the Meridian District and just enjoy themselves here in Yankton. There's a smaller group that felt it was negative. The streets are left a mess because the street sweeper can't make it because of the overnight parking. We heard potential for people urinating in entryways. I don't know if that's exactly true, but again, that's what we were told. The street should never be closed down because it impedes traffic and business. There is little to or not enough notice given, except when they see. This is the thing too, that they know when the barricades go up that something's happening, and we were told that when the white barricades go up, then something is happening, and so we have to definitely figure out how we're going to disseminate that information before we just say like no white barricades. Again, parking was mentioned for disabilities, making sure that we're hooking up to the utilities correctly, that they're not the shop owners' utilities. Streets being shut down for poker runs. One of the things that someone mentioned was that they love having them down there, but then they leave for most of the day, and the street's still closed, and then they come back, and so there's questions about that. Again, not enough parking downtown, closing for events that do not cater to the entire community. And again, some people are somewhat indifferent. No better, no worse. They just work around it. Some are okay with it as long as, again, it's a community-wide event. People feel like the process is broken because they're not getting the notifications or following the process that we have in place. And some are indifferent too, because one of the things that, and I appreciate this, and I empathize with business owners, they're afraid they don't want to speak against things because they don't want to have it become an issue for them, and I completely understand how that might be perceived. Ideas that came up, so there's some great things that did come up. One of the shop owners said, who was also a graduate from Mount Marty University, said, why not during like the Mount Marty parade, let's have a discount potentially for, or celebrate Mount Marty and have some things downtown that help boost their sales for down there that include Mount Marty. Maybe someday in the future, there could be a public parking garage. The Meridian District needs to be, this is one of the big ones. The Meridian District Board needs to be formed again, or have the city take the lead to help with communication back and forth to the Meridian District, having a better way to disseminate information. And so again, these are just ideas that we had, and Commissioner Birch, did I miss anything, or do you want anything you want to add to that? Good. I'm good? Okay, I tried to be as thorough as I possibly could, but I'm sure I missed a few. But I just wanted to add that to the discussion. I want to make sure I thank all of the shop owners that gave input. It was a wonderful conversation, and just really appreciated the feedback, because again, we are listening. We appreciate all of you. Mr. Dehoff, we appreciate you. Jeff, we appreciate you very much, trying to make things happen downtown and really make the Meridian District truly a destination where people want to come and hang out and really give it, like we talked about earlier, soul. And I know that we have that. I know that we can do better, and we're trying. But again, we are listening. So with all that being said, that's a lot. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Todd or Luke after that input?
I would like to chime in on our conversations with the folks downtown. Mike summarized it very, very well. I think the overarching theme that came out of it was almost everyone is supportive of the idea of downtown street closures and events. It was, substantially one-sided from that respect, but there was a lot of good feedback on things that could be done, perhaps. And as Mayor Villanueva pointed out, parking is an issue. It doesn't matter whether there's no events going on downtown. It's just an issue, primarily with residents increasing in apartments and so forth. And so something that the city as a whole is going to have to consider.
Thank you. Commissioners, any other questions for Todd? Yes, Commissioner Conklin.
I have 2 questions for you. Excluding parades, how many events do we typically have downtown?
I didn't bring my notes with me tonight. I know I spoke about this last time here. Over the course of a year, special event year, I'm going to use the law of averages a little bit here, but about the last 3 years, we've averaged between 30 and 40 special events here in Yankton. Those downtown events, and I had this here last time, but I think we were at a number between 12 and 15 of total events, and
That close roads.
yeah, of special events in the downtown area there. And that included poker runs that were a part of a closure. That included Mr. Dehuff's events. I believe when I quoted those numbers last time, we did include the parade numbers in there too as a standalone road closure. We wanted to just kind of designate that idea road closure, but that number was between 12 and.
So how many different entities are arranging those? How many different entities request street closures? Any idea?
Yeah, so the only duplicate would be Jeff's. Jeff's events in that street area would be the only duplicate of an event host for multiple street closures. All of the other street closures are done individually by a variety of different entities. Abate has theirs. The Boathouse did theirs this year. All of the parades are done by a different entity. Yeah, so really, I guess I would just land on probably the only duplicates would be the 3 events that Jeff has talked about here.
And poker runs.
And poker runs, yes.
We allowed to make comments now too?
Sure, go ahead.
Sure. I just have a few things. I had an old college football coach who said, liars figure and figures lie. And there were a lot of questions asked and a lot of numbers. I think the question is, are you okay with street closings? That's a pretty broad question because some of the people I've talked to said, yeah, if you closed 1 block, that's not a big deal for them. If you close 3rd Street, that's a whole nother scenario. And so that was the feeling I got from the people I talked to, that you got to specify, we're closing this block or this block. That may not affect me. But the numbers that stood out to me the most, that are the most specific, how do street closures during special events generally impact your business? And Todd talked about this. 2 very positive, 3 somewhat positive, 6 somewhat negative, 8 negative, very negative. And then how do street closures during special events affect your daily activities? Very positively 1, somewhat positively 1, somewhat negatively 5, very negatively 10. And my concern is, and I'm not saying we don't want to have special events, but that's one of the reasons why we chose Riverside Park. Unlike every other community, you move 2 blocks south and you're at a beautiful park right by the river. Sioux Falls, you can't do that. Mitchell, you can't do that. So it's a different scenario. And I don't like the idea of picking winners and losers. You know, if we say, okay, we can close it, it's going to help these businesses, but it's definitely going to negatively affect other businesses. I don't want to be in that type of a game. I think it should be fair for everybody. So the other thing was, and you brought it up, there's a big safety concern. We talked about this numerous times. You know, putting up a barrier isn't going to stop a vehicle if somebody wants to cause damage. So I don't think it's as easy as, do they want to have events down there or do they not? I think there's a lot more to it that needs to be taken into account. Thank you.
Sure. Other commissioners, do you have any questions for Todd or Luke at this time? Seeing no mics pop on. Okay. So now I would like to ask the public to come up to the mic. That way we can hear all of you before we entertain our long commission discussion, I'm assuming. But if anybody would like to come up to the mic, please do so. State your name and go ahead and speak your piece, please. And I'm going to, typically, I know, one of the things I know in our packet, it specifically says 3 minutes, and typically what has happened is I've end up extending it, and just so for the record, when I do extend it, everyone gets the exact same amount of time. And so tonight, I'd like to, I'm going to go ahead and give it 5 minutes, and then I'll let you know right before your 5 minutes is up, but I will let you know.
Would you like me to time there so you can?
Sure. Yeah, if you don't mind timing, that'd be wonderful. Okay. Anyone from the public want to come up and comment?
I'm Josh Blum. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for all the time and effort and energy you poured into this. I've got to say that reading Todd's proposal, I do agree with almost everything in there. I think it's well worded, it's well done. I don't know the safety aspects of it, but I can support what's written in there for the opportunity to have events, but to try to help limit the events that happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I have one. So what do you think would be a fair, for your business to affect it, what would be a fair number of events? And are you okay with them closing 3rd Street, or just, would you rather have it just blocks?
I don't have any preference on the number of events or necessarily where they get closed, as long as individually the events approach the property owners, make sure that it fits their schedule and their comings and goings. I don't think there's necessarily a 3-event or 10-event window that's appropriate. I think having it structured in some fees is a great self-limiting and governing amount, that the events that are worth putting on are going to make it, and the events that can't afford those are going to go by the wayside. Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a general question about so the policy that we have in place, they have to contact business owners. What if some of them, is there a percentage that have to say yes, or if anybody says no, what is the percentage?
That's
or
a
the
great
number?
question. Todd or Luke, would you field that question, please?
Typically, the language of the notification process has been, as event organizers approach a downtown business or host, it's with the expectation of by signing this, you're not agreeing to the event, your signature is simply a notification, which then designates a time period that would come before the commission. And in this instance here, we're talking about 60 to 90 days. So typically what I've done as individuals are working on that notification process is as people ask them commonly. So I'm signing this and I'm telling you I'm okay with this, and the answer to that is no. The signature sheet is simply to verify that those individuals have received notification of the planned event. The planned event would still then, as it's written in here, would need to come before the commission for 2 meetings.
What if somebody objected to signing?
I guess they would be entitled to do that. The hope is that their objection would bring them here so that they can delineate that information to our commission about why they were objectionable to a specific event.
Thank you.
But yes, that could happen.
Okay, good question. Commissioner Birch?
Josh, just as a point of information, you've got a number of event venues in town, and how far are those events typically booked out?
The typical range is 12 to 18 months, really. We've planned quite a few 2027 weddings already at this time, so we coordinate greatly in the future.
And I just want to say, too, thank you for all that you're doing, and Kristen are doing downtown, Josh. And I also want to say thank you, Jeff, too. Having been part of Remote Days, I'm not officially on that board anymore. Having been part of that, I do realize just how much time and effort, money it takes, blood, sweat, and tears it takes to make those events happen, to have people come to your event downtown or wherever the event's at. I just know from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate what you're all doing to make the Meridian District truly a larger destination than it already is. So I just want to tell you both, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Josh. Yes, come on up and please state your name.
Higgins, excuse my appearance. I'm with Coughlin. Simplicity is the key. Why complicate things? And when you talk about the fee for the event, you're charging for the event, but then there's owners downtown that's losing business due to the street closure. I'm with you on this, Coughlin.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public want to come up? Please come on up. State your name, please.
My name is Luana Johnson. I'm the president of the Marine Corps League Auxiliary, and we were invited through the efforts of Luke Yeomans. He put us together with the Yankton Rib Fest committee, and they invited us to have our car show at the same time as the Yankton Rib Fest on 3rd Street. I don't see a viable venue if we would have to move to the river on 2nd Street. I know I am making a very strong guess that Parks and Rec would not want us at Faddle Memorial Park parking on their grass. And our cars do not light up, they don't start, the motorcycles don't do that either. They park one place, they remain there for most of the day while the judges go through and rate their cars, and then we give, usually at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we give out all the awards and trophies. One of the things that's unique to our situation is because we are a military affiliated organization, we made arrangements with the VFW to provide a lunch or a menu that follows the same thing as the Rib Fest, so that there's an alternative, especially if they have little people. So we direct our business, now they don't have to, but we do direct our people that are participating in the event to go there and have lunch. Or on the one occasion where it rained like crazy, we had all of our participants go and sit in the VFW and enjoy a beverage or whatever. And then when we were ready to announce the winners, then they came back out and they stood in the rain. So I really think that people are interested in having, especially the Rib Fest downtown. And I hope that that does not have to move. And I do want to thank Jeff. He's gone way out of his way to help everybody down there. Now, one of the things with our car show is we do not ask the Rib Fest committee to provide us with any monies. We raise our monies ourselves, and that's, some of it is through the fees that we charge for entries, and then the rest of it is all donated money, and that helps us to pay for the event ourselves. And we don't intend for this to be a fundraiser. It's just a community event. We want people to come and see what we've got going. So I'm in favor of the 3rd Street closures. Thank you.
Thank you. I do have a quick question for you. One of the suggestions is going to Levy Street. Do you think being on Levy Street would be a good place for the car show?
That would depend on how much space the Rib Fest would need for their own use, for all of the food trucks that are down there, for all of the different games and events, the children's bouncy houses. That's a lot to put all on one street, unless you're going to, I don't know how many blocks you're planning on closing. But that would, I don't know where we could go. We couldn't take up the parking lots because that wouldn't be fair to people who want to come and actually engage in the event and have nowhere to park, because there you go. Another, there's not enough parking. So I'm not positive about that at all.
Okay, and I guess my question would be, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but that would be, could you do it in the park? So the car show could be up top and then everything else could be in the park?
Well, we're just a small entity of the Rib Fest. I wouldn't want to take anything away from what Jeff has going. They do a lot of work, and they're already in planning for 2026. We visited just a little bit with Mike Sarda, and who has taken over that particular event, and we visited just a little bit about what to expect next year. This past year, 2025, was a real eye-opener. I found out 2 days before the event was to go that we lost 3rd Street to 4th Street, Cedar at 3rd, all the way to 4th. We lost that to our car show because the Rib Fest people needed to move some of their events in order to accommodate the closures they had to make. So I'm not positive about the show, but I'd have to visit with the Rib Fest committee and see what they thought.
Sure, okay. Commissioner Conkling?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what we had, the initial proposal was that they would have the parking lot and the park for all the festivities. They could have the car show on Levy Street, and they'd have plenty of room.
Is that correct? Was that the idea?
Yes, we talked about Levy Street being used, or if they wanted to be in the park.
I'm not sure if the microphone's on. Todd?
Yes, we talked about Levy Street being an option for the events, or if they wanted to use the park and the parking lot by the Capitol building for events, or a combination of, we could make that work. Again, being realistic about not wanting to close intersections, figuring out where to put barricades and heading. Again, we talked about starting at the alley by the bridge, west of the Meridian Bridge, the alley by the lawn, and then going all the way to, is it Capitol, that's by the Ice House? Is that, I think, is what we talked about?
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Well, thank you for what you do for the car show, and thank the veterans for their service, please. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else from the public want to come up and speak? Mr. Dehoff.
I know I ran over my time last time, so I'll be brief this time. But I think what she's talking about was Josh had a wedding at for Ribfest, had a wedding at his the Riverfront Event Center, and we ended up moving the stage to accommodate the wedding that he had. And we've tried to work with everybody as much as we possibly could downtown. As a result of that, we had to move the car show. And we had to do some shuffling around, but I mean, we pretty much have to do some accommodations every year for things. And I'm sure being on the Riverboat Days Committee, you have to do the same thing. That's part of having an event, that's part of owning a business, and you know, I'm probably coming up here more if you have any questions for me or anything that I could answer. I think you know that where I'm at, I have the 3 events downtown, and I'd like to keep those. There are other poker runs and other events that happen, but they are requested by the groups that do them, like a bait, for example.
Sure. Okay, and I do think I'm glad what you said, Jeff. It's important to also remember that we, for sure, are all on the same team downtown, Team Yankton, with the entire city. But I just want to make sure that what I always want to make sure that happened, I always talk about my 3 C's: communication, collaboration, and cooperation. As long as we're doing that, we're doing okay. So I just, like I said, want to encourage everybody to continue that collaboration, cooperation, and communication. It's really important. Any other questions for Jeff? Mr. Dehoff? Seeing none, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public would like to come up and speak?
I'm the other Jeff downtown, Jeff Todd,
Yeah.
pastor of Celebrate Community Church. And I have to say, I lived in Sioux Falls for 15 years, and Yankton is head and shoulders above Sioux Falls. So we're way ahead of them. So we moved our church down to downtown 3rd and Douglas this last year, and we just love it down there. Love all the events that are going on. Just think it's great for the community. And just like you said, Mayor Villanueva, communication, collaboration, cooperation is great. One of the things we did is we did an Easter egg hunt, and it was just very kind of random, last minute type thing. And I contacted 13 businesses downtown. More than that, but we had 13 that were able to participate in that. We're all very willing to do that as well. So I do think that there is definitely room for a downtown collaboration to start, even just kind of grassroots. I know there was a lot of talk about fees before, what kind of made it difficult, but I'd love to help coordinate that too as well, because I just think the more we can communicate and talk and be good neighbors. Josh and Kristen have been great neighbors to us, and so thank you guys for all that you do as well. So I just think that's a great way to keep the conversation going and find a good solution. So I want to thank the City Commission for all their work and the Parks and Recs team as well on this research to do this done. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the positivity.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or anyone else from the public want to come up and speak? Okay, I am seeing no movement. Now we will do I have a motion? Anyone want to make a motion?
So if I understand this right, it's just about the recommendation on number 20, if we agree on everything else?
Yes, we need to decide on recommendation number 20, whether a street usage fee should be implemented, and if so, what amount. Adjustments will then be made to the special events handbook application and forms. A fee resolution will be brought to a future commission meeting for approval based on the recommendation.
So you're looking for a motion to approve a fee?
The recommendation number 20, that's correct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, I think the motion or the amendment, the document asks for a dollar amount. So we're going to either have a dollar amount, not have a dollar amount, whatever it is. So,
okay.
Gotcha.
Do you have a dollar amount in mind, Commissioner Conkling?
I think one of the recommendations was $500 a block, and I would move to approve that.
Okay.
I could kind of add something to it?
Yes.
Part of it is we didn't talk about, but the added responsibility on the police department. They're going to have people, they're going to have to go take cars that are being parked illegally and things like that. So there's some other expenses that are involved. We may, and earlier, yes, I can tell you that, yes, I used to rent one of the offices down there, and yes, people do urinate there during the special events. They vomit in the entryways, and so maybe part of that would be adding somebody to go down and clean up a little bit too. But that's my thinking.
Okay, so just to clarify, your motion is it's $500 a block then to close this for street closure?
Correct.
Okay. Good. Would there be a half block fee if it was maintained to a half block? So would we just call it then the $250 as the half block, or are you saying the entire block would be closed for $500?
I didn't realize they closed. Closing half a block seems pretty difficult. I mean, I would think you're closing the corner to corner, whole block.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the motion on the floor is a $500 fee to close the block corner to corner. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a second. City Manager Leone, did you have something you wanted to add?
I didn't want to add something, just wanted to clarify that, so this motion includes the first 19 recommendations as well, and then Commissioner Conkling's additional recommendation for the block closure amount, just to make sure we have it correct in the minutes.
Do you understand it that way, Commissioner
Okay,
Conkling?
thank you.
Commissioner Hanoff, do you understand it that way?
And we were going to do a separate action on 1 through 19, but we can do it either way.
Okay, so to clarify, that's the motion?
Correct.
Okay, and you're okay with that, Commissioner Hanoff?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we have go ahead, Commissioner.
What is the current fee? Remind me of that. Is there one?
No, currently we do not charge for street usage.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any more commission discussion? Yes.
Just want to point out that one of the recommendations is to update the ordinance. I just want to make it very clear for the public and for all of you that this action would not make that change. That would have to be something that staff with my help would bring forward to you. I don't want to give the impression we're changing law with this. This is essentially updating our special event policy and the fees associated with it. I will have to bring that to you at a later date.
Okay. So we would be voting on those fees again, is what you're saying?
The change of the ordinance specifically. So right now we have a structure that would have to be modified in our current ordinance to accommodate these new procedures. And those changes couldn't take effect until this commission actually adopts that new ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Commissioner?
Todd and Luke, I just wanted to check on item number 3 here with respect to the parades. You've got an exception carved out for Riverboat Days Parade. I would like to suggest that we also include special circumstances in there too, that there might be some modifications. The March to the Meridian, they don't follow the prescribed parade route that's downtown because they come over from Nebraska and they come down Walnut Street, so they don't follow the regular parade route. So there could be other things in the future too that come up before the commission that, okay, somebody's going to, I'm just going to toss out there, have one hell of a music festival downtown or something like that where there's somehow they're, just so we don't have to come back and redebate this, just that there's an opportunity for special circumstances.
We would appreciate it, bringing it to the commission for the commission to tell us what to do so we don't get into this bind again.
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? So we have a motion and a second. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone from the public want to talk about this? Seeing no movement, then we will do a roll call.
Brunick?
Aye.
Sarda?
Aye.
Conkling?
Aye.
Hanoff?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Benson?
Aye.
Birch?
I'm going to go with nay. I feel like that $500 fee is somewhat excessive.
Mayor Villanueva.
I'm going to abstain because of my previous riverboat days. Because again, I want to explain this. We are making an exception for riverboat days. And I don't want someone saying that because of that exception, I question if I should vote. So I'm going to abstain.
What's your vote? Colin?
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, motion carries. Oh.
6-1, my apologies. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to new business. Number one under new business, the Yankton Police Department surplus property. Consideration of memorandum number 25-194, recommending the City Commission adopt resolution number 25-50 and authorize the sale or disposal of surplus property. Commission, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this? Seeing none, anyone from the public? Seeing no movement, roll call.
Sarda?
Aye.
Conkling?
Aye.
Hanoff?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Benson?
Aye.
Birch?
Aye.
Brunick?
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion carries. Number two, purchase of new forklift for the Public Works Department. Consideration of memorandum number 25-195, recommending the City Commission approve the purchase of a new 2025 Mitsubishi FG25N7 forklift in the amount of $38,067.25 for the Department of Public Works Central Garage Division from Herculift, Inc., out of Maple Plain, Minnesota. Commission, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anyone from the public? Roll call.
Conkling?
Aye.
Hanoff?
Aye.
Spencer?
Aye.
Benson?
Aye.
Birch?
Aye.
Brunick?
Aye.
Sarda?
Aye.
Mayor Villanueva.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, we're at future business. Again, this is a time for city commissioners to address the commission regarding matters not on the agenda. These items will not be deliberated by the governing body at this time or acted upon. This may be added to a future city commission meeting or work session for deliberation or action. Commissioners, do you have anything you'd like to add? Okay, seeing nothing. Right now, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, we are adjourned.